Hey guys, I wanted to come on real quick and do a garden tour. We're in the middle of July and it has been such a rainy, wet summer. And I think everywhere's kind of having their own issues with weather. It seems like I'm seeing tons of people with windstorms and tons of rain, and we're getting tropical storms. So I think we're just trying to keep the garden alive. So I'm going to show you what the garden looks like. We've had rainy day after rainy day, so I'll be honest, I haven't come out here to do a ton of upkeep. I've just been harvesting things as they're ready and making sure everything looks alive. So the weeds are in full force, there's blight happening, it's the middle of summer. One thing I am thankful for with all of the rain is it's been in like high 80s. That's for us in the middle of summer. Normally we are high 90s, dancing at 100. So things have been enjoying it besides all the rainy days that we've been having. I have my gloves on because, like I said, I haven't really touched things. So I don't know if we got creepy crawlers out here. I haven't looked at things. I have my harvest basket. I will be harvesting as I'm going because this is the most sun we've had in a while. So I am maximizing it. I also wanted to say thank you for everyone who entered into my giveaway for when I reached 500 subscribers. The winner of that giveaway is Summer with Stacy. So Stacy, you won my giveaway. Email me. I will put my email below, but it's gardentimewithmac@gmail.com, and then me and you can go back and forth, and I can send you your goodies. Let's get into the garden tour. So real quick, wanted just to give you an overview. This is my jungle of a garden. So like I said, weeds have just flourished. They're loving the rain. I haven't even had time to come out here and try to weed them if I wanted to. My basil looks great. I haven't trimmed it in a while. I need to. Marigolds are flourishing. The last garden tour I talked about the yellow pear tomatoes and how I haven't had a chance to try them. Since then, I have been able to harvest a bunch of them, and they are tasty. They're gonna go on my grow again for next year list for sure. I talked about these organza bags in my last garden tour video, and it's definitely helped keep squirrels at bay. Like I said in that last video, I'm not protecting every single tomato I have, but it is nice to protect some, just as like a little backup insurance policy. These are my Cherry Falls tomatoes. These have been super productive. They're not the tastiest tomato though out of all my cherry tomatoes, so they win in productivity but not really taste. In this organza bag, I have some green zebra tomatoes that are a little past ripe. These are like your salad size. These are the green zebra. I've heard some people say some positive things and some negative things. These are actually one of the tastier tomatoes we've grown this year. I really like them. This is the time in the garden season where, as everything's coming to become ripe and we're harvesting, that I'm really taking some mental notes and deciding, what do I really like? What's just okay? What didn't do that great? So that way when I go to plan for next year, I can have those notes and refer back to them to know, do I want to grow more of those this year? Or do I want to not grow that tomato variety altogether and try something new? So if you're not doing that already, definitely get that on your calendar. Something that loves summers, jalapenos. Look at these. These are just jalapeno plants, guys. And really good sizes. These are the early jalapeno variety from Botanical Interest. They have not stopped. You can see they're full of flowers and fruit. Really could have got out here earlier and got some of these. Probably will work better if I use snips. Now let's take whole branches off. And look at these, right next to each other. Just loaded. I just need you to see how full these are of peppers. This is crazy. Something else I found interesting is it's really popular. I feel like a lot of people pinch their pepper plants so that way that they can branch and become bigger plants. Well, I didn't pinch any of my peppers, and I just want to show you how naturally they want to be bush-like. So here's one jalapeno plant. You can see it just branches on its own. This isn't me pinching it, it just does it. So, do you have to pinch your pepper plants? I don't think so. Let me show you my other favorite pepper I'm growing this year. These shishitos. First pepper to produce, and they are not stopping. The shishito peppers have been nice because they're also not a spicy pepper. So it's something that you can make as a side dish, really easy, just during the weeknight. So, really been liking them. Like I said, they were the first pepper to start producing this season, and they don't mind the heat. They didn't mind it when it was cooler. Like I said, it's been cooler with all the rain, and they don't seem to mind at all. It is a jungle over here. Okay, so I have my bell peppers. They slowed down when it started to get hot, but with all the rain, it's cooled down, so I've been leaving them, but I want some bell peppers. Maybe I'll leave them, see how they do. So I grew some Roma tomatoes this year. Haven't really been impressed. What's your favorite Roma tomato? I'm looking for something a little bit bigger than this because I planted quite a few of them, but dealing with birds and squirrels, I've only been getting a handful, and I'm grabbing them as soon as they start to blush to bring them inside. So if I could get a bigger Roma tomato, I could get more bang for my buck. I'd love to hear what your favorite is to grow. Some okra back here. This is the red burgundy okra. It's been a pretty slow producer. I feel like we get one pod at a time, where I'm used to the clumps and spineless, where you get multiple pods back to back to back. So it's kind of been disappointing. Don't know if I'll grow it again. It is very pretty, but once you cook it, it turns green. So is it really worth it? Probably not. But we are totally into the end of the tomato season for us here in Zone 9, and it's kind of the point that if you are gonna do tomatoes, then you're starting a second round inside, and we're basically getting ready to rip these guys up. So I have some big rainbow tomatoes I've covered and protected that I'm gonna harvest today because they're starting to blush. You can probably see some of the color behind me. And then after that, once we get a couple sunny days, I'm ripping these bad boys out. Wish I would have had more tomatoes, but they're done for the season. So I'm gonna harvest these. They look like they're good sizes, so I'm excited. These are the big rainbows. Oh, we've had so much rain. It's split. But what a good size. These have been really tasty. I've been really pleasantly surprised. They have a lot of flesh inside. They're not really jelly. You could easily make salsas and something that you want something thick with these tomatoes, and then since they have this yellow and red splash of color, they make for pretty dishes. Pleasantly been surprised with these. Taste is good, pretty mild because it's a yellow tomato. What a bummer on all the rain though. Big split on that guy too. It's okay, they're fine. It's not like there's any pests or crawlies crawling in them, so just eat them immediately. This is the stage I've been harvesting a lot of my tomatoes at, right when it's starting to blush. Still got green shoulders, and I've been letting them ripen on my counter. I've even, especially for my aromas, brought them in when they look like they're about to be full size, but they're completely green. And I've been letting them ripen, and they do ripen all the way to red. I can't tell you if they taste as amazing as they would have if they would have ripened on the vine, because I haven't had luck with those. But if you can wait till you know it's the right size to harvest, or if you just see a blush of color, you can bring them inside, you know, in case you're having tons of rain. Like this one, no splitting because it wasn't super ripe. Or if you just have pests that are attacking your tomatoes when they're turning red, you can bring them inside. So keep that in mind. And then this is the smallest one, and it's got a crack. So we had some pretty large ones all the way to teeny tiny. It's just funny how things ripen differently when it gets really hot. And then underneath my tomato mess, I have some okra I recently planted in June that's starting to come. I need to actually come in and thin those, but I think I'm going to do that on the day where I rip out the rest of my tomatoes. Those are all Roma tomatoes, and I don't think there's anything to harvest. I think they're just sitting plants, honestly. So I'm not going to even try to tackle that today, honestly. Get what we came for. This is everything we've harvested so far. So we got some tomatoes, some jalapeno shishitos, and a bunch of cherry tomatoes. So good rainy day harvest. Last but not least, I have some squash that I planted in some containers. Same containers I actually had my potatoes in. Once I harvested those, it was time to plant something else. So I planted some summer squash and some winter squash. And I just a couple days ago hand pollinated one of my moonbeam squashes, which is a scallop white squash. So I'm really excited. I haven't had those yet, but I was looking up when it's time to harvest, and it says when it's 2 to 4 inches in diameter. We might be close. I don't know if I'm going to harvest it today, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. Here are my squash. This is the moonbeam squash. And, oh gosh, that's the squash I just hand pollinated a couple days ago. So these are growing in grow bags. They look really healthy. So if you've been having issues with your squash plants pollinating, or what looks to be like blossom end rot, it's probably that they're not being pollinated. So I'm going to really quickly show you what to look for and how to hand pollinate your squash in case you've never done it before. So I'll show you an example on my moonbeam. My flower is not open yet, and I'll explain that in a bit. So if you're wanting to get pollinated squash and you only have a few plants and you want to do it by yourself and not rely on the bees, what you'll do is you'll look for a flower. So you see how it has the fruit on the bottom as opposed to these flowers that just have a straight stem. These are male flowers. These are the female. So what you do is once this flower opens up, you'll take this and you can either take the flower off altogether and then you'll swivel the inside of this inside that flower, or what you can do like me and just get like a paintbrush, something you have lying around, just take some pollen off this flower and put it on the inside of this, and then in a couple days you'll have a pollinated squash. So what do you think? Does this look like it's big enough to harvest? I think so. Why not? We have another one coming. How exciting! So like I said, this first plant was the moonbeam squash that we just harvested. This second pot is clearly supposed to be zucchini. I have planted this with zucchini, different varieties, 3 times, and nothing. But I have volunteer salad because I grew some cutting greens in the fall, and apparently a seed wanted to germinate. Isn't that fun? Salad in the middle of the summer. It's probably bitter as all get out, but it's pretty. This is acorn squash right up here. Just starting to get some female flowers. You see how little those babies are? Look how pretty their leaves are though. This first one, which is why these grow bags are nice, you can move them really easy, is spaghetti squash. And let me tell you, my husband totally weed whacked that when he was cutting the grass. Isn't that rude? I don't think any little flowers on that one yet. I'll be thankful if I get any since he cut it. This one right here is butternut squash. I had really good luck with this last year. I have been hand pollinating this and haven't been able to get anything to stay. See, those didn't get pollinated, those fruits. So, hoping for more luck, but the acorn squash looks like it's about to take off. Gives me all the Cinderella vibes. Well, that is it for a July wet, hot, humid garden tour. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I'll plant with you later.